Castlevania. The arcade is arguably one of the most obscure entries in Konami's Gothic horror franchise. The game was exclusively released in Japan. While a European release was planned, the game only surfaced briefly at test locations across Europe in 2008. The cancellation occurred very soon after the initial test runs, before the game had even enjoyed its official Japanese release. This suggests that the test location performance, likely impacted by the high cost of the specialized cabinet, issues with the hardware, or lukewarm player reception, convinced Konami to halt distribution entirely. This transformed Castlevania, the arcade, into a title rarer than gold. The lack of an official North American or European release means that functioning cabinets or even original printed circuit boards are virtually impossible to find outside of Japan. What makes Castlevania, the arcade, truly stand out is its radical departure from the identity of the franchise. For decades, Castlevania had been defined by action platforming, but Castlevania, the arcade, is an on-rails light gun shooter. It is important to note that this is the second arcade game in the franchise's history. The first was Haunted Castle in 1987. While notoriously difficult, it remained a traditional action platformer featuring Simon Belmont. Castlevania. The arcade must be viewed within the context of Konami's late 2000s strategy. They were doing extensive experimentation with the intellectual property, releasing unconventional titles like the 3D fighting game Castlevania, Judgment, and the multiplayer title Castlevania, Harmony of Despair. Instead of a regular light gun, Konami developed a LED whip remote. The remote itself was described as heavy and functionally similar to a Wii remote. Players used a button to activate the whip and then physically swing the remote at the screen to inflict damage. This proved problematic for longevity, with one cabinet being taken out because a player managed to damage the monitor by throwing the controller at it. In addition, the controller featured a bottom button used to deploy sub-weapons, including items like knives and crosses. Although Konami later released Castlevania, Harmony of Despair as the first multiplayer co-op action game in Castlevania history, the arcade title beat it to the punch by a full year. The game begins with an animated introductory sequence detailing the Black Mass resurrecting Dracula. Players face a familiar cast of villains, including zombies, skeletons, and hunchbacks. Boss encounters featured fan favorites like the Werewolf and the Grim Reaper. The production staff for the game included director Hiroyuki Ishida and producer Masayuki Ohashi. The composition team featured Masahiro Ikarako, Masayuki Maruyama, and Go Fujiwara. Do you want to try out this obscure game, even though it was barely ever released? Then check out Technoparrot. Technoparrot allows you to play arcade classics and rare titles like Castlevania on your home computer. What are you waiting for? Download Technoparrot for free.